All right, JHK here for the All-Star, and join me right now is one of the most dangerous men walking this planet, UFC welterweight contender, Vicente Luque. Vicente, thank you so much, man. You're back from a trip to Las Vegas, International Fight Week. You were doing some media. How was the whole experience?
Yeah, that was really nice. I got to especially watch the fights. It was awesome watching the fights. That last fight with Ortega and Volkanovski was a crazy one. And yeah, it was a great week. Got to see some of the fans, get back to them, appreciate their respect and their love always, and to share some time with them, take photos and have a good time is always great. So yeah, it was a great week.
Any weird requests from the fans?
No, nothing crazy. No, like everybody was cool.
All right. None like choke me or anything like that. You get those a lot, right?
No, but not those. No, that was good.
All right, of course, of
I,
course.
I did a couple of face-offs, but
hmm
that's also like not a big deal.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't a big deal. You mentioned the fight between Ortega and Volkanovski. That third round was pretty insane. Two submissions Volkanovski got out of it. Were you surprised? When Ortega hopped on the neck and he was in the mount, because I feel like a lot of fighters and a lot of people that practice jujitsu, they know that position, it's very hard to get out of there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was impressed both of the submissions that Volkanovski got out of, and it just shows, that he deserves to be the champion for a reason. I mean, he's been a beast out there, and surviving that, I mean, I don't think any other guy in that position would have survived it. So yeah, it was impressive for sure.
Now you go back to Brazil. You're with your family. How are you spending your time these days?
Most of the time, I stay home with my kid and my wife, and I train every single day. So that's something that I'm never, out of training. Uh, Especially, I'm looking. I want to still have one more fight this year, so I got to stay in shape. I'm hoping for December, maybe we can make something happen. And yeah, I mean, training and just enjoying my son.
That's right. That's right. Now, are you working on anything in particular? I remember watching an interview you did after the last fight against Chiesa, and you said that you saw some things that you wanted to tighten up. Are you doing that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always working on things that I can get better. So my wrestling is something that I'm always going to be working on, especially having a champ like Kamaru. He's a great wrestler, and also Colby is another big wrestler in the division. So that's something I'm always working on, improving my wrestling. Making sure that I can keep the fight standing, where's the best way for me to fight. That's where I like to fight. So I'm working a lot on that. And in general, everything, a lot of boxing. I like working in boxing, trying to get that head movement and not get too much damage in my fight. So yeah, just working on the basics.
Yeah, you have shown that though. The improvements in your last couple of fights. I feel like you finished so many fights that people don't think like they don't think you're getting better. They just think that you're just you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. Sometimes I feel like I wish the fights were a little bit longer so I could show a little bit of what I've been working on. But also, like, I'm really excited that I finish fast. I get in there, no injuries, get out of there, with a big win. I think that's the best way. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm not able, to showcase everything that I'm working on. But I mean, it's just part of the game. I think that's why I get the finishes the way I do because I'm improving, and the competition just gets tougher, and I'm still finishing these guys. So I think that shows a little bit also of my improvement. Even though the competition is tougher, I still finish them.
Now I want to go back, like way back. I want to just dissect your journey so far. Throughout the UFC, just through your career. Now the first thing is, I believe a lot of people saw you first when you were with the Blackzilians. Now, talk about the first couple of weeks stepping on the mats at Blackzilians. Did you know everybody there, and what was your connection into the team?
No, I didn't know everybody. I knew Guto Inocente. He used to fight in the UFC. He also fought for the Glory heavyweight title against Rico Verhoeven. So he was a guy that I knew because he's here from my city in Brazil, and he had been training for a while with the Black Zillions. And he always told me like it was a really good team. If I ever wanted to go out there, to get some training, I could go. So I got in touch with him. I felt like that was 2014. I felt like I needed to train with some guys that were in the UFC because I wasn't in there yet. I wanted to see if I could hang with those guys, if I had what it took for me to get there. And Guto let me, stay at his house for a little bit. And I, had the first training session at the Blackzilians, and it was really crazy because that was the first time I stepped in a mat, and I had, there were so many UFC fighters and Bellator fighters, and guys from all over the place. There was Eddie Alvarez, Vitor Belfort was training over there. Uh, I think, Anthony Johnson, Rashad Evans, Gilbert Burns, a whole bunch of killers out there, and I was like, man, it's crazy. I'm training with these guys, and it was really exciting. I got to, I don't know, not only develop technically because it's such a high level, but also mentally. I got the confidence I needed to really understand that I could compete against these guys. I wasn't as good as they were, but I could work my way there. I could actually one day be at that level, and that was really important for my career.
You see throughout the years some crazy sparring sessions from the Blackzilians, back in the day. I know there's so much more there out there somewhere, I mean, it just hasn't been released yet. But for yourself, at the start, the first year or so, who gave you the craziest rounds in sparring? What were the funnest times?
I gotta say two guys. One of them is Gilbert Burns. That's why we're so close and we're such good friends now because we've always went hard in training and like we never injured each other, but we went all in like if it were a fight. So that just kind of made us better. I sharpened him in the striking. He sharpened me on the grappling, and then we every time kind of like got tougher and tougher. And the other guy that is really tough, I mean, I could say a lot of guys because everybody is tough over there, but Jason Jackson, he's doing super good in Bellator, and he's a tough, tough guy. He's always has given me great rounds. He's a great striker and also wrestles really good. So he's a guy that has always given me a lot of good rounds in there.
You want to improve on every aspect of the sport, but when you got there and you were training for the year, 2 years, what did you feel throughout that time was like something that you really needed to work on more than anything to take you to that next level, the UFC?
Uh, I think it was the wrestling because training in Brazil, I had a lot of striking training and also grappling, jiu-jitsu and luta libre. It's all over here. But wrestling is something that we lacked a lot. So that's what I worked on a lot over there. And yeah, I mean, America, the U.S. is known for their wrestling, so it's always been something that I've worked a lot on when I was over there. And now, fortunately, here in Brazil, I have a wrestling coach. He's from Cuba. He used to be on the national team, the Olympic team in Cuba. So they also are beasts in wrestling. But that's something that I felt like it was what I had to work the most before entering the UFC.
Any connection with him and Yoel Romero?
No connection because he's younger, but he used to train with all the guys that train with Romero, so he knows kind of the same coaches. A lot of Romero's friends that are in Florida training now that also fight MMA know my coach as well. So yeah, there is a connection, but Romero is older than them, so he never trained with him when he was in the Olympic team.
In the Blackzilians, who was the biggest shit talker? Because there was a lot of guys that could talk over there.
Man, I don't know. A lot of guys. I don't know. That's hard. Like in training, nobody talks so much shit. We always had a good time, and nobody kind of like the energy was really good always in Blackzilians, and still at Sanford, most of the guys were from Blackzilians, so the energy is always really good. Everybody like we're competitive, but we're not like trying to, I don't know, brag about stuff. We just kind of like we want to go hard, we want to be better, but we're not bragging about beating somebody up because we know that a week from then we're gonna be beat up by that guy that we beat up. So I don't know. In training, nobody really talked too much trash. It was always like really good training and hard, and I don't know. We had always had fun.
When the Blackzilians, when the doors were shut, everybody kind of dispersed, and some went to Hard Knocks, some went to other places. For yourself, was it an easy decision to to follow the fighters over to Hard Knocks?
I mean, it wasn't easy, but it was natural in the sense that for some time there were two teams. So there was kind of like, uh, I would say a third of the Blackzilians went one way, and then two-thirds went the other way. I was training with both teams, but naturally one of the teams kind of moved on and really grew, and that then they made Hard Knocks, and the other team didn't go, didn't advance so much. It really stayed like, they didn't really grow, so I felt like Hard Knocks was the place to go. It was kind of natural. It just had like harder training. The guys that I used to train with a lot, like Gilbert Burns, Kamaru also, Jason Jackson, they all went to Hard Knocks. So for me, it was kind of like a natural move to go over there and train with these guys. Eventually, it turned into Sanford MMA, and yeah, for me, it was pretty natural. I mean, at first, it was kind of like, okay, let's see what's gonna go on, but later on, it really kind of kept almost the same. It was almost the same thing as the Blackzilians, and in many ways, it became better also because we kind of got like, I don't know, tougher training. The team wasn't as big as Blackzilians, but it was like, if you had filtered only the toughest guys and put it all in the same room.
Now the team is bigger, I think, than the
Yes,
Blackzilians
yeah,
ever
now,
was,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 for sure. I mean, now is, I would say it's one of, if it's not one of the biggest team, and I wouldn't say only in the terms like because there are many fighters, but the level of fighters. I think ATT is the team with the biggest amount of fighters they have for sure. I mean, they would beat any other team in quantity of fighters. But I think the quality that we find at Sanford MMA, that's really different. We have high caliber fighters in all the shows. So there is ONE FC, Bellator, UFC, all these shows. There are tough guys training at Sanford. So I think that really makes a difference.
Were you going back and forth from Brazil the whole time? Were you going to Cerrado MMA the whole time, or was this a gym that you picked up along the way?
Cerrado MMA is the team I started in, that back in 2009. So I used to train with the guys that are coaches here in Cerrado MMA before Cerrado existed. And then we left another team and we opened this team in 2009. That's when I started my career in MMA as well. And I've always been training here ever since, and always back and forth between Florida and Brazil. And little by little, we started growing. So Cerrado MMA in 2009, I think I was a professional fighter and maybe other two or three guys. And then back and forth became like some guys came in, some guys left, but always was a small team. And now, since I got into the UFC and we started growing, now we have at least 30 pro fighters. And we have another fighter in the UFC, which is Vivi Araujo. She's really good. And we have other guys up and comers. Of our guys fought in LFA here in Brazil. Both of them won their fights. So yeah, we're growing. It's becoming a big team here in Brazil.
It's great to see. A lot of people, when they leave their original team to go train elsewhere, they feel like they're leaving them forever. But that's not the truth, man. It's like they're just leaving to go get some other training. Eventually, they'll come back, man. Some people call them traitors. You've seen it in the MMA community a little bit. Like when someone left a team to go train somewhere else, they want to criticize them from leaving, but really, they could always come back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here in Brazil, there is a lot of this kind of criticism. There is a word that is from jiu-jitsu that is called creonte, and that's the kind of like the guy that leaves his team to go to another team, and that's kind of like a big deal. But my coach here from Brazil, Daniel, he always, like back in 2014 when I decided to go to the Blackzilians, he talked to me and he said, "Hey, you got to go there because here we have nothing else to give you. You're not going to grow over here, and you need to grow in order to get to the UFC. So go there, do what you got to do, stay as long as you need to. And if one day you feel like you want to come back, come back." When he told me that, in my mind it was like, man, there's no way I'm not going to come back. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I'm gonna bring this guy with me. So he has been to every single of my UFC fights since the first one, and we've always I've always like whatever I learned in Blackzilians, HardKnocks, Sanford. I've always brought that knowledge back so that we can grow our team. And he always went to me with the fight, so he has a great connection with Henry Hooft. So they are great friends nowadays. So they help each other a lot. Henry has been here. He has done a seminar over here at my gym. Kamaru Usman has also done a seminar here in Cerrado MMA in Brasilia. And Gilbert Burns all the time, whenever he can, he comes here and trains with us. And yeah, it's great to have this connection and be able to give back to my team because they had my back from the start. So now I have their back, and we're all gonna grow together.
It's beautiful to see the loyalty, you know what I mean, and the open-mindedness of your coach and yourself back and forth. It's and it all works out at the end of the day because you, like you just mentioned, three of the biggest names in the sport are doing seminars at your gym, right? So it's all good. Now, let's turn our tables to what's happening now, right? And the biggest name, I think, the biggest fight maybe you can take besides the title fight is the fight against Nate Diaz. You know, he has expressed interest in fighting you. You've been calling him out for a little bit, but he never really responded until lately. Why do you think he's having this change of heart?
I don't know. I think that now I'm starting to be relevant in the division. I think that now it's an interesting fight for him. Not only because I'm well ranked. Possibly like if he could beat me, he definitely would look at a possible title fight. So I think that's a reason, but also my style. Nate is the kind of guy that he's looking for pay-per-view sales. He wants the guy that is gonna give him those big numbers, and I feel that right now I'm that kind of guy because of my style, my fighting style. People know that I'm gonna step in there and I'm gonna give it all, and I'm gonna try to finish Nate every single minute of the fight, and he's gonna do the same. I don't see this fight going to the floor. I think we're both gonna stand up and try to knock each other out. So I think that's what Nate sees of interesting is the kind of fight that he really can win or lose. He's gonna gain with this fight, and for me, I think it's a great fight. I see a small opportunity to go and have a title fight, but a lot of things have to play in the right way for me to get that title fight. So if I get one fight before that, I feel like I would seal, it would be the real, like the seal saying, okay, now there's no way. He beat one more tough guy. He's going to have to get that title fight. So I feel like Nate is that fight right now. There's nobody else available. Leon is a guy that, I don't know what he's going to do right now, if he's going to fight or if he's not going to fight. And I don't want to wait. I don't want to be, just waiting to see what's going to go on. For me, I mean, sign me up. Nate Diaz, December. I'm ready for that.
Since these talks have been going on, I'm pretty sure, Nate Diaz has a lot of fans, a lot of crazy fans, like diehard fans. Have you been getting any messages? Have you been looking at the comments?
I mean, I look a little bit, but not too much. I don't go crazy with that. I haven't gotten any kind of like messages directed to me, at least not that I've seen. But I don't know. I think that I believe that their like his fans, enjoy my style as well. So I think that they wouldn't kind of like obviously they want him to win, but I don't think they're gonna hate on me. They know that it's gonna be a great fight, and they're just gonna support him. And man, I love his fans. I'm one of the Diaz fans. I love their style, both of them. I got to see Nick fighting live. It was pretty amazing. And yeah, I mean, I think that it's great to see the support he has. And if I can get a little bit of that, even if it's like guys hating on me, no problem, man. I'll put up to it and have a great fight against him.
Yeah, you seem like a guy that could handle that, to handle the haters, handle that. You could avoid it. You don't even think about it, really, even if it comes to your face.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, uh, I don't know. I don't really feel the hate, even if they do try to hate on me and try to talk shit. I don't know. I just don't take it personally. Because at the end of the day, this is what I do for a living, and this is what I do because I love this. There's nothing that I could do that I would enjoy more than step inside the octagon and fight somebody. So, I mean, whatever they want to say, if people want to hate on me, I'm still just going to go out there and have fun every Saturday night that I can fight and do what I do.
Any dates being discussed for this fight or any fight for yourself?
No, so no dates specifically, but I want to fight in December, and I want this fight. I think the fight with Nate Diaz is a fight that makes a lot of sense for me. And I don't know. I think for the fans, I think even for the UFC, it's a fight that they really can sell. They really can make a big show out of that. You know, kind of like the Masvidal and Nate Diaz. They had all that BMF title. I mean, I don't know if we would go for the BMF in the trash talking, but definitely I can be a BMF inside the octagon. You know, I go out there and I show up against every single opponent. So yeah, I mean, I would love to have that fight.
Most fighters, when they express their desire to fight Nate, they're looking at the financial benefits of that fight. For you, it seems like it's a little different. How much is money a motivation for you in fighting?
The thing is, for me, and I always say that, especially here in my gym in Brazil, when I'm talking to other fighters, uh, money has never been my motivation. What really motivates me is what I like, what I can build. You know, my legacy, my history as a an MMA fighter, what I can do as an MMA fighter, becoming a champion. That has always been what really motivates me. And at the same time, I've never seen a champion that didn't make money. So it's kind of like it's if you want to be the best fighter in the world, you're gonna make money. That's natural. So that's why like it has never been my focus to okay, I want to make money. I want the fight that's gonna pay me the most. That's not what I want. I want to be the best fighter because if I'm the best fighter, I'm gonna get the best paid. You know, regardless, people are gonna want to watch me. You know, I'm going to be able to have great pay per views and sell a lot of fights. So it's kind of like my mind has always worked on that way. Like I got to be the best. And once I'm the best, I'll take advantage of that and I'll get all that comes with it. And I think the fight with Nate is the same thing. Yeah, it brings the pay, but that's not why I won the fight. I won the fight because for me, looking at my resume, I think that a fight against Nate Diaz will make a big difference. You know, in the future, whenever I retire, I can tell guys, hey, I fought that guy. That guy was a beast. That guy was a legend, and I fought him. So I think that's how I look at this fight.
You mentioned the championship belt. You know, it's on the line pretty soon. UFC 268, Usman versus Covington, the rematch. I wanted to pick your brain on the path to victory for each fighter from your perspective, right? And let's talk about Covington first. What do you think he needs to do to take the belt from a strategic point of view?
Man, it's tough. Looking at that for me, especially because Covington hasn't fought a lot. He fought one fight, only against Woodley after he lost to Usman. So, when I look back, it's hard. I don't know what I would say. Looking at the first fight, I like the pressure that Colby Covington brought to the fight. He really kept the high pace, but seeing all that Kamaru has evolved, I don't know if boxing would be the way to go. And that's what Covington did in the first fight. But right now, I think Kamaru is a different fighter. So I don't know. I would say that Covington has to keep a high pace and try to fight wherever he sees that he can take an advantage. Maybe it would be in wrestling, but also Kamaru is a beast in wrestling. So I don't know. For me, it's a really tough call because I'm going with Kamaru for the win. I think that he's the guy that right now is looking great. Uh, he is definitely one of the greatest champions in the welterweight division, and he's evolving every single fight. For me, it's crazy how his boxing has improved in his last two fights, especially the one with Masvidal. Knocking Masvidal out like that is not for anyone to do, especially for somebody that wasn't a striker, originally. So yeah, I think that Kamaru, I see him winning this fight. I think that he's gonna go out there and fight smart in the striking. I think he will get another knockout. I would say between second or third round, just because if I see like if the fight goes like the first fight, I think Kamaru can knock him out with this in the second or third round. If it's a different fight, maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Kamaru, but he still is going to get the win, and maybe a knockout later in the fourth or fifth. But I don't know. I don't see the fight going all the way.
All right. Well, with Usman, do you see him doing the exact same thing, or do you feel like there is going to be subtle differences in his strategy or in his arsenal of attacks?
No, I think he's going to be different than the first fight, but it's still going to be striking oriented. That's what I believe. Uh, his striking has improved a lot. His boxing, his movement, his confidence with his hands, that's something that I see a lot in his last two fights. And I think he's just going to explore that even more, try to connect big shots, work that jab. He's got a really long jab. So work that and try to get a knockout sooner than in the first fight.
Of course. And now with Covington, I hear like fighters being hated by certain countries, and I heard we know the history. How hated is Covington in Brazil? You're sitting in Brazil, so you talk to people, you talk to fighters, coaches, just people in the street. What are they saying?
I think there is no single Brazilian that could say any good thing about him. People just really hate him, especially because after that fight he had with Damian Maia over here, he talked a lot of shit and talked a lot of shit about Brazil. And that's something that, man, we don't really like. We don't take that, lightly. It's a bad thing to talk about our country. So I don't know. I don't think he can ever kind of like overcome that. Brazilians will never like him and they will always root against him and hope he can get a beating. So yeah, that's what it is here in Brazil. I mean, uh I definitely don't like the way he talks. I don't think that's the way people should talk. But at the same time, like I don't take it personally in this sense. Like if I ever fight him, I'm gonna beat him because I want to beat him, just because it's what I do as a fighter. And after all that goes, I mean, okay, people can, take that as a revenge for Brazil. But for me, it's not like that. I'm just gonna go in there and do what I do. But Brazilians really they don't like Colby at all.
Is he number one on the list? Do you think of all time fighters that the Brazilians hate, or is there someone else there? Chael, there's
No,
Chael
I
too.
think I think he's Chael. I would say he is number one just because I don't know, man. I think he is number one. Chael would be right there at number two with Conor McGregor because they don't like Conor McGregor. Also, after all the things with Jose Aldo, that was a tough, bills for that fight. So yeah, Jose Aldo and Chael in second place and Colby number one.
Damn, that's a incredible list of fighters, but they all have a reason to hate. The fans have a reason to hate those
Yeah,
fighters because of their
but the
acts.
crazy thing is, even though the Brazilians hate him, they will like sign every single pay per view so they can watch it and hope for them to be beat up. So at the end of the day, these guys are making money out of their hate.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Vicente, man, I hope you do get the Nate Diaz fight or the next title shot. But whatever fight comes up, it's gonna be a big fight because it's Vicente Luque. So I hope you get what you want, man. Thank you so much for the time today, and good luck on the rest of the year, and enjoy the holidays and everything.
For sure, man. Thank you. I always appreciate talking to you. And yeah, let's go. Hopefully, I'm gonna get this fight with Nate. I want it. The fans want it. He wants it. So it's just the UFC has to make it happen, and for sure, it's gonna be a big one. And let's go. Big hugs to all the fans. I always appreciate their support. It's what motivates me every single fight.